2,000 clerics say Trump's blood is halal. Iran's religious elite just endorsed the US president's assassination, calling it a sacred duty. As executions rise and Iran vows revenge, clerics warn, Tel Aviv will become a city of ghosts. The threats are no longer symbolic. Trump is now a target in God's name. More than 2,000 Iranian clerics have issued a religious statement declaring that the shedding of Donald Trump's blood is permissible under Islamic law. The statement, released by the press office of the seminary, frames the killing of the US president as a religious obligation, citing his role in authorizing the 2020 assassination of Iranian commander Qassem Soleimani.
The era of revolutionary restraint and patience has ended, and henceforth, Trump's blood and wealth are halal and avenging. Soleimani's blood is obligatory for every Muslim and freedom-loving man and woman. The blood and property of this savage criminal are halal. The nations will not remain silent. Retaliation is coming.
The declaration, endorsed by both junior seminarians and senior religious figures, marks a significant escalation in anti-American rhetoric from Iran's clerical establishment. The signatories include influential officials such as Ahmad Khatami, a senior cleric who leads Tehran's Friday prayers, Mohsen Araki, a member of the Expediency Council, and Mehdi Shabzendadeh, a member of the Guardian Council. All three hold positions appointed by Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Ali Reza Arafi, Vice President of the Assembly of Experts and a key figure in Iran's religious leadership, also signed the statement. The clerics asserted that the era of restraint has ended and that avenging Soleimani's death is now a religious duty for Muslims and freedom-loving people. The move follows a surge in provocative displays by regime supporters. A widely circulated video shows a theatrical mock abduction of lookalikes of Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in northern Iran. The IRGC-linked Fars news agency described the performance as a public event unaffiliated with official institutions. The seminary, a key center of Shiite Islamic scholarship, did not clarify whether the statement amounts to a formal fatwa. The United States has renewed its warning against travel to Iran, citing a surge in arrests and government crackdowns following the recent 12-day war between Iran and Israel. In a post on its Persian-language social media account, the State Department said Iran is gripped by unprecedented paranoia, with regime forces intensifying efforts to detain alleged spies and political opponents. The warning follows the arrest of 2 American Jewish citizens on suspicion of espionage for Israel, as reported by Israel's Channel 11. One of them, 70-year-old jeweler Yehuda Hekmati, remains in custody. The other, a dual Iranian-American national from Los Angeles, has been released on bail. Meanwhile, rights groups report a sharp increase in executions inside Iran. The Abdurrahman Borman Center documented at least 730 executions since January, with over 100 in July alone. The United Nations has also raised alarm, noting that more than 40% of executions this year were for drug-related offenses, and many others stem from vaguely defined charges such as enmity against God. UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, has called for an immediate moratorium on capital punishment, citing what he described as a deeply disturbing pattern of state violence. In a separate development, Abdol Reza Davari, a former advisor at the Interior Ministry, was sentenced to 6 months in prison after criticizing slain Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar's actions during the October 7th attacks.
Yahya Sinwar was fluent in Hebrew and served as the liaison between prisoners and Israeli authorities during his imprisonment in Israel. Sinwar was the commander of Operation Al-Aqsa Flood, which he launched without informing or coordinating with Ismail Haniyeh and Hezbollah in Lebanon, and his costly actions raise a big question mark about him.
Davari also faces prosecution over other remarks, including claims about former nuclear chief Feridun Abbasi. He later deleted his post, but other users joined the discussion and suggested the slain Hamas commander was an Israeli agent. Addressing Friday prayers in Tehran, senior Iranian cleric Ayatollah Ahmad Khatami defended Iran's actions during the recent 12-day conflict with Israel, portraying the Islamic Republic's response as one of legitimate self-defense. He warned that any future aggression by Israel would be met with decisive and far-reaching consequences. Khatami accused Israel of launching a war of aggression on June 13th, targeting Iranian military, nuclear, and residential infrastructure. He also criticized the United States for its subsequent involvement, including coordinated airstrikes on Iranian nuclear sites in Natanz, Fordo, and Isfahan on June 22nd. In response, Iran launched a series of counterattacks, including missile strikes on Israel and, for the first time, a direct strike on the US military's Al Udeid air base in Qatar.
Now they are talking about the destruction of Iran because they see themselves in a life and death situation, but we are standing firm like the cypress tree. Iran was not the initiator of the war, but it defended itself resolutely.
The Clerics stated that Operation True Promise 3, carried out by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Aerospace Force, delivered 22 waves of retaliatory missile fire, which Iran claims caused heavy damage across Israeli cities. He noted that Iran's actions were not offensive in nature, emphasizing that the country had never initiated war and would not do so. Khatami also linked growing global protests against Israel to what he called a broader erosion of Western liberal values, citing public outrage over civilian casualties in Gaza. He warned that further Israeli military action could render Tel Aviv uninhabitable, describing a hypothetical escalation as turning the city into a city of ghosts. A ceasefire took effect on June 24th, ending the immediate hostilities, though tensions remain high in the region.